That's not English, Brian. It's German.
Oh,
So what I told you is true, from a certain point of view.
welcome back, everybody. Welcome to A Certain Point of View. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. Hope everyone is doing great out there. If you're on the West Coast, hope you're staying safe. I'm sure it'll be brought up during our little intro here. Everyone's doing good on this side of the camera. Thank you guys so much. Fun show planned tonight. We're not going to be live next week as our 2-week gap happens the week of Valentine's Day. So we're going to do a little Valentine's Day episode tonight. Talk about some cool movie couples, television couples, maybe acting combos. Also kind of sets up perfectly for what's happening on this Friday, which we'll get to here in just a little bit. And then, of course, we're going to talk about the tragic passing of one Carl Weathers, which completely shocked us all this last week. So, again, thank you so much for joining us. Hope everyone's doing great out there. Ladies, it's a three-man woman show tonight. Brian is off. He is off gallivanting with school basketball, I believe is what he is doing. Molly, how are you doing today? How's computer life? How's Star Wars life? How's everything going?
It's good. Computer life has been kind of hectic because my computer's been just crapping out on me, so I had to do some much needed surgery on it to replace some things.
I like the terms there. I like the terms, yeah.
It's working okay so far, so fingers crossed it lasts for the stream. Otherwise, though, I'm pretty good. I'd been dealing with like tendonitis in my shoulder, which is a big bummer.
Gross.
Tendonitis sucks.
Yeah. So I'm having to try to take it easy on the workouts, which is boo. I've been going so well, and
You have. I'm so proud.
but sometimes, it's good to take a step back, and it's forcing me to do cardio is what it is, and I hate it.
There you go. I do cardio every day. 45 minutes. 30 to 45 minutes of cardio a day.
I can still do squats though. So that's cardio.
There you go.
So I'm hearing two ends of the spectrum here. Molly, you hate cardio. Jill, you love cardio.
I love
Jill,
cardio.
What is the one thing you hate about working out then? Like what's your cardio as for Molly?
Legs. Squats.
Okay.
Hate it.
Okay.
Although I am on my
legs.
cardio is like on the bike, but like yeah, any squats or anything like that, hate it.
So you're the definition of don't skip leg day.
Don't skip leg day. Because that's all I do is skip leg day.
Got it. Okay.
Not a fan. Not a fan.
Be real buff up here, and then
and then little tiny legs.
So Molly,
most guys in the gym.
What do you love? Oh, that's brutal. What's your go-to workout? What do you love?
I mean, honestly, like shoulders and arm stuff, which is kind of killing me
the one
right
thing
now.
you can't do.
Yeah, it's because I've been doing too many shoulder days, and so I need to like dial it back a little bit, anyways. But I did legs today. I don't mind leg day. It's just it wipes me out. I'm just like spent for the rest of the day. So, but I get to eat more on leg day, which it's like it's a nice trade-off.
Yeah.
Always goes back to food here on POV, everybody. Jill, how you doing over there? We're kind of in a similar situation. We're surviving the storm. But how's everything else going on in the Sullivan household?
It's good. It's good. It's raining, as you said. We're still trying to get our ceiling fixed from our pipe bursting last week.
Yeah, nobody knows about that.
Oh yeah. So when I was in Florida, Sean calls me and goes, "So we got a leak." And I'm like, well, what do you mean we got a leak? So we had a pipe burst in our ceiling. So they kind of fixed the main issue, but now our house smells like musty leak in our ceiling, which is fun. So they have to like remove our entire ceiling. So we have to be out of the house for like 5 to 6 days. So we're just trying to schedule all that and figure out all that fun stuff. So that's been fun.
Are they going to give you like new carpet and everything, or was it?
They're gonna deep clean our carpet. So they already gave us new like lining underneath the carpet. So they already changed that out, and when they're done with the ceiling, they're gonna like deep clean the carpets. So that's been fun to deal with right after I got back from my weekend vacation. Yeah, so that's fun. We do have an engagement shoot that we're supposed to do on Sunday, though, depending on how the rain is. So, but
so romantic.
Oh, I know. Gross. Ew. Gross. Wedding planning season. We were talking about like finally getting down colors today, and I'm like, because my main thing is trying to figure out. Because he's like, well, are you like specific things need to be specific colors? I'm like, no. The only thing I need a real specific color for is the bridal party. Everything else can be like a theme. Like,
have you narrowed it down at all?
I think so. I think we have like the main palette. But we'll see.
I like it. I think so.
Yeah,
I'll run it past the girls and get their opinion once I'm not like exhausted.
It feels, I mean, I didn't do it that long ago, but it definitely feels like when you plan weddings, a lot of the time you're saying, yeah, I think so.
I think
that's what I want.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. You don't want to settle, and then you want to make sure that like your partner is also good with it. And
it helps to get like color swatches.
We're probably going to do that
in person, so you can just like put everything out and look at it.
I think that's the game plan. I think what we're going to do is get physical swatches of everything. So
I'm excited to see it.
Yeah, I'll send you some stuff.
I mean, you don't have. I'll happily. Okay. I mean, totally out your call. I'll happily walk in that day and be like, "Oh, that's what she was talking about 8 months ago." Yeah,
yeah. God, 8 months. God, Jesus Christ.
And think about this, Jill. Think about this. So I just said 8 months, and you freaked out that you're getting married in 8 months. We planned our wedding in 10 months.
That's what I keep telling myself though to make me feel better.
We did it in 10 months.
I know. I was like, if Jake could do everything in 10 months, I can get like the details in 8.
100% you can.
I can 100%
you can. Yeah. Once you start getting closer, like you'll start to get the flow of things. Like it'll be easy. It'll be easy. It's exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah, not much on this side. I've actually been a little sick over the last week. It's kind of been lingering.
Oh no.
I've had a cough. I've been stuffed up, phlegm like in the throat, like just the whole thing. And luckily, Bo or Gabby hasn't gotten it. But I told you guys earlier, Bo had his 4-month shots today.
How'd he do?
He did actually pretty good. I didn't go to his 2-month shots, but Gabby said that his 2-month shot, he was just inconsolable, just completely just crying for ages and ages, and she had to feed him to make him calm down. Today, it was the same thing while he was getting poked and prodded, but he calmed down for a little bit right after and then kind of started to whine again. So we put some food in his mouth to kind of calm him down some more. And then once he got in the car, within like 2 minutes of him being in the car, Gabby said he fell asleep, which thank God.
Oh, so, there you go.
Tuckered himself out.
Yeah. So, and the shots are going to do that naturally. But the only problem is he's now been asleep for an hour or so.
Get ready for that early wake up call.
He might be asleep all night long.
Ooh.
I don't know. Because last week he fell asleep. One of the days he fell asleep at 4:30 and didn't wake up until like 2:00 in the morning. Like he was out.
I want to sleep like that. That sounds wonderful.
Same.
Sounds great.
But yeah, there's a possibility that we could be up at 9:00 with him. So we'll see.
Woo! Parenthood.
As long as he's asleep right now while I'm on the show with Gabby in the house, I'm totally happy. So it works. But yeah, so let's go ahead and get the show moving a little bit. We have I mentioned up top, we're gonna do a little Valentine's Day main topic later in the show. It revolves around our favorite movie and television couples. So if you guys have any that you want to highlight, throw out there for us to discuss, mention, keep those in your back pocket for now. That won't happen until a little bit later in the show. To start the show off, though, as we have been over the last few weeks, we're going to start with Jill's new segment, which is a new segment on the show where she goes over the news for the last couple weeks. So, Jill, take it away.
Hello. It's not going to be as organized as last time because I didn't actually type it out on a computer. So it's just in very short bullet points on my phone. So here we go. The Oscars happened while we were away, believe it or not. Didn't they? Or did they happen beforehand?
Nominations.
Oscar noms. See, I'm tired. And I didn't write these down. Oscar noms. And there was a lot of snubs if you didn't hear the chaos over the internet when it was announced. Notably, Greta Gerwig and Margot Robbie were not nominated for Best Director or Best Actress for Barbie. But Ryan Gosling was nominated for Ken, which totally is the plot of Barbie to a T. It's like, did you even watch the film?
It's the most Ken thing that could
It is
happen.
the most Ken thing to happen. And I literally just watched Barbie for the first time yesterday, and now I understand everything. It all makes sense now. It was very good. I enjoyed it. Leo DiCaprio and Zac Efron were also snubbed, which I honestly feel kind of bad for Zac because apparently that performance was phenomenal. Correct me if I'm pronouncing this wrong. Condé Nast had a walkout. They're a union.
Oh yeah, you're right. I don't know if you're pronouncing it right, but yes, correct.
I don't know either. I don't know what they are. I think it's
I think it's Condé Nast, but I couldn't tell you.
I don't know. They have a walkout. I think they're doing
the
the
one
strike.
with Variety and stuff, right?
Yes, yeah. And the one where Anne Hathaway was doing an interview with them and found out there was a walkout and she stopped the interview. So
she didn't even stop the interview. She did it in the makeup chair.
She was getting ready for a photo shoot and she got up and walked out.
Yeah.
Queen status right there. We love us some Anne Hathaway. Love that. Love that. Deadpool 3 has finished filming. So that is exciting. We saw some final shots from Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman with the ending of Deadpool 3 being filmed. I'm really excited for that because it is now kind of officially in the MCU. So I'm excited how they're going to tie that into everything.
Me too.
Me 3. Jon Stewart is returning to host The Daily Show, and everyone is freaking thrilled about it. I love me some Jon Stewart. If he was running for president, I'd vote for him in a second because he's great. I love him. The Grammys were last night. Some notable mentions. Miley Cyrus won her first Grammy Award, which was insane to me.
Get it, girl.
Is that really a shocking thing in the music?
It was her first Grammy win. Yeah.
I was telling Gabby that I'm not surprised it's her first.
Wrecking Ball didn't win.
Is Wrecking Ball a Grammy song though? I
think so. I think it would be up there. It was nominated. I think.
Wrong. I might be wrong.
I don't know.
I mean, she's got an incredible voice, and she's done so many albums by now that you would think something she's done or worked on would have got at least nominated or won something. But I'm sure she's gotten nominated for stuff. But I was happy for her.
Me too. Yeah, the Flowers is a great bop. So good for her for winning on that one. Beyonce also, it's a great bop. Beyonce broke the record last night for most Grammy wins by an artist ever. That's one thing that does not surprise me because it is Beyonce. So of course, she's the queen. She rules.
Queen bee.
And Taylor
cowboy hat last night.
Rocking a cowboy hat, a true queen. Taylor Swift also won Best Album of the Year last night, and she announced she's been working on a new album for the past 2 years, as if she hasn't been busy enough. That will be releasing in the next 2 months. Unlike Brian Avellino, I was not waiting 45 minutes online on her website last night to order it.
Molly has thoughts, clearly.
Molly has a lot of thoughts.
Just give it a rest. Take a break. Give people
take a nap, girl.
Give the artists in the room a chance to do something.
She loves making music. Come on.
That's fine. That's fine. I'm just
sleep.
I kept seeing videos of people's reactions at the Grammys when she talked about it or the announcement went out and they were like,
they could care less.
They're like, go to bed, girl. Hibernate.
Go to bed, girl.
She's literally she's like the Tom Brady of music right now. They just want her
literally.
They just
she's
want
going
her
to Japan. She's going to the Super Bowl, and then she's literally that one math project. If you're leaving where like Las Vegas at 10 p.m. at night and you have a concert in Japan the next day, how fast does your flight need? Like she's literally doing that. Like go to bed, girl. Take a break.
I've just been making memes of the name of the album.
I saw that today. That's great. That's great. I told the group today, and I'm getting my bingo spot warmed up right now because Princess Diana is smiling down from heaven because King Charles has been diagnosed with cancer. He has been clawing to become king for so many years. He finally gets it. Boom, cancer. Unfortunate. Sad. Everyone look out.
Are you actually sad, Jill?
Am I actually sad? If you ask my mom, if my mom is listening, yeah, I'm totally crushed that that the monarchy is failing. Yeah, no, horrible. No, I'm not sad at all. Sorry if that makes me a horrible person. The George Carlin estate has sued the creators of the AI generated comedy special that they have made an AI George Carlin for, which is wild to me that you think they would ask the estate if this was okay or not before literally doing an entire comedy special in AI. Yeah. I don't know.
I think this happened the day after we talked about it on our show.
It did. Good timing. It sure did. If you heard screaming a couple of weeks ago, it was because Molly Damon found out that they are doing a reboot of the Buffy the Vampire Slayer series, according to the producer Dolly Parton. So
they've been working on that for ages. It's not supposed to be a reboot. It's supposed to be about someone in the same universe. There's like a lot of details about it kind of like resurfacing ever since she mentioned it, but I hope it still happens.
Do you want it to happen? You're looking forward to it?
Yeah. I don't want a reboot. I want what was originally planned, which is just a new story set in the same universe, different Slayer.
I think the biggest news is that Dolly Parton's a producer on that show. That's
how I learned that she was a producer.
Wild.
I was like, this is how I'm learning this. And I love that so much for her.
That's crazy.
As if we couldn't love Dolly even more, we find out that she is a producer for Buffy the Vampire.
Which totally means she's a vampire, right? Like 100%.
Oh, 100%. Looking that beautiful for like how long she's been on this earth.
She's definitely a vampire.
We love that for her.
Or whatever kind of monsters are in that world.
In the best way possible, Dolly. We're saying this all in the best way possible. My favorite news of the past couple of weeks is that House of the Dragon star Millie Alcock has been cast as Supergirl in the DCU.
I love it.
Love it. I loved her in House of the Dragon. I'm so excited to see more of her. I think she's going to be a really cool Supergirl. So I'm very curious to see how that turns out. But I love that casting. I adore it. And then my final bullet point, which Jake was very excited about, they might have discovered Amelia Earhart's plane.
Yeah, dude. Okay. Bro, the amount of conversations I've had about this since this has come out is wild. Wild.
Because every couple years they'll be like, oh, we discovered new things about Amelia Earhart. Like, oh, there's some photos of her possibly alive on this like kind of remote island somewhere. So like every couple of years I hear about it and I'm just like, whatever. But allegedly this is
a big deal.
The biggest kind of evidence that they have. Like they did a scan, I guess, of the ocean floor and they found something that appears to be a single passenger plane in the water. So we'll find out if we have finally uncovered the mystery.
Yeah, I mean it's probably going to be a while because I know that the guy who discovered it, he was he was in the Air Force as I don't know if he was a pilot or something, but he was in the Air Force and dealt with planes and overseas and everything. And then once he got out of that, he became like a realtor or something, and he sold all of his realtor assets and put all of his money into this project.
Damn.
Wow. I did a whole like deep dive on this guy.
Jake was really into this.
I love this type of stuff. And it's funny because I got in a conversation.
Very Indiana Jones.
I got into a conversation about it with someone while Gabby was in the room, and during the conversation she goes, "This is his Roman Empire." I was
like, my God, for sure.
Like it totally makes sense. Accurate. But no, I mean, it was 100 miles off the island that she was supposed to go to next. Like not a direct line, but within a vicinity. And 100 miles off land obviously means that it's not the deepest part of the ocean. Like it's not going to be the part of the ocean that you can't reach. it's going to be a while until we find out because they have to go back, they have to dive, they have to do all this stuff. Because he found this footage was shot like last summer or something, and he only broke into it. He only they only like looked into it in December. So it's like a long process of doing it. But I told you guys, like, I will always forever believe that in some universe she escaped and lived the rest of her life off on an island somewhere.
That's my headcanon too.
And that she survived, you know, like
lived her best life.
Until they show me like skeleton bones or something in that plane, Amelia Earhart
they're
survived.
Not those are not going to be in the plane anymore.
I know. I'm just saying, like, you know, or some type of evidence. I believe that she survived and got off and yeah. So
could you imagine if one of us put that on our bingo card? Like they'll find Amelia Earhart's plane.
That'd be crazy.
Wow.
Dang.
I know.
Missed opportunity.
But we might have a death in the royal family though, so we got that going.
Yeah. Yeah, we might have one. Unfortunately, Sunday we might miss a complete one because Brian threw out a sports prediction that may possibly not come true. So, I want to go back just real quick. I want to just quickly mention Millie Alcock. Mm-hmm. I love the choice so much. We've only seen her in House of the Dragon, but she showed a very specific type of like ferocity in that show, in that role. Around so many big characters. And Supergirl, for those who don't know, obviously she's like Superman, but she is much more aggressive. Mm-hmm. Kind of much, not violent per se, but she doesn't live by his rules like he does because she lived through everything that happened on Krypton and everything that
she wasn't on Earth as a baby.
Yeah, so, and if they're telling specific stories that they're going to with her, like the stuff that she's going to go through is going to be crazy. And I love what James Gunn said is that he was watching House of the Dragon and he said she would be a great Supergirl. And fast forward, and here you go, and she is now Supergirl, which I love. I think the casting is perfect.
She's violent because she has to live in the patriarchy now. That makes perfect sense to me.
Yeah.
No wonder why she's so upset.
I don't know anything about Supergirl, but I'm interested now.
Yeah. Fair enough. All right. Well, before we get to our Valentine's Day topic, we do have some somber news to cover. We were all kind of floored last Thursday as we saw on Twitter that it was announced that Carl Weathers, legendary actor who has been in so many big pop culture franchises in general, huge name for years, passed away on Tuesday. His family said that it happened in his sleep, that he went peacefully. But I had no idea that this was even close to happening. Obviously, we've been seeing him for the last number of years in The Mandalorian, and nothing came of it, which I think for them to be able to keep it to themselves is pretty remarkable in this day and age that type of stuff is, possible. But yeah, it's very sad. I think, unfortunately, it's kind of like at this point where we're seeing these actors now who have lived their life start to pass on, which is so sad to think about. He was in Rocky for so many years as Apollo Creed. He was in Predator. He's been in a number of Adam Sandler projects. It's very sad to think that we won't see him anymore. And obviously we can talk about the Mandalorian stuff way later on how that changes everything. But pretty big bummer news. Pretty big bummer news.
Yeah, this the shock that went through my body when I saw this. I was like, what? Everybody was so floored by this news, and it just sucks because he seemed, we don't know exactly what was going on, if anything, but he was doing everything. He was acting, he was directing, he was writing, and seemed like he was in great shape, and even now, how old was he?
He was 76.
76, I believe, yeah.
Yeah, and just seemed like he was in such good shape. And
76, yeah.
I didn't realize he was 76 because he seemed so sprightly and,
He always had the attitude of like keeping up with the times and stuff too, which was so great. And so this was really, really shitty news to get.
Yeah. Sad.
Yeah.
Do you guys have a, just off the top of your head, like, I know that The Mandalorian is the most recent thing, but is there one thing that kind of comes to mind when you think of Carl Weathers, if you've had enough experience with him?
The first movie, and I think one of the only movies I ever saw with him was Happy Gilmore. So that was
Chubbs.
Chubbs was my intro to Carl Weathers, which I think is a funny intro because everyone will be like Rocky or Predator. I'm like, nah, man, it was
Honestly, I think I probably watched Happy Gilmore before I watched Rocky and Predator too.
There you go.
Yeah, I'm sure I watched it because Happy Gilmore was like a staple in our household. My dad loved it, and
Same.
yeah, I'm sure I watched Rocky and Predator at some point, but just him as Chubbs is like iconic.
Mhm.
Him and Adam Sandler together in that role are pretty iconic, and he was in a few other of the not so recognizable, not recognizable, not so good Adam Sandler movies that followed. Like he was in 8 Crazy Nights, he was in Little Nicky, but yeah, that role on Happy Gilmore is so iconic. It'll always be remembered for sure.
Sean's favorite was when he played himself in Arrested Development.
That's what that was going to be. I knew him from Rocky and Predator also, but one of my favorite quotes of his is, "You got a stew going, baby," from Arrested Development, and like that sticks into my mind every time I think of him, unless it's like Star Wars and Grief Karga related.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, talk about an iconic Star Wars character. When he came into that role,
the moment we saw him,
he totally stole the show. And then when he became High Magistrate Grief Karga, and he had the droids holding the robots, it was kind of like, you do whatever you want, man, and you'll be great at it. And he did. So
well, and he was so invested into everything that was happening with not just his character but the whole like universe. You know, he clearly loved being a part of Star Wars, and he was, like you said, he's starting to direct, you know, helping out with the story, obviously helping out with where his character goes. I'll never be able to hear the term Mando ever again without him saying it. Right, because he just Mando, that's what he said. So yeah, I mean, we can discuss the whole Mandalorian thing later on at a later date when it's more appropriate, but it's going to be pretty unfortunate to not see his face in any capacity regarding Star Wars or anything else going forward.
Yeah. We just have been rewatching some of the later episodes in Mando season 3, and the one where he puts Grogu in IG-12 and he does the yes and no buttons, and like when he starts walking around Grief's office, the way his face just lights up, it's almost like that's just him reacting to what he's saying. That's not acting. That's just, that's what everyone's reaction was to that scene. It's so pure.
Yeah, it's a bummer. Definitely a shock. I think
it was Ash Crossan tweeted a brief interview that she had with Dave Filoni on the red carpet for the Saturn Awards, where he spoke very briefly about his passing and just said some kind words about how much he'll be missed. And so I think that's on her Twitter.
Yeah. All right. Well, there's no easy way to kind of switch topics from that. We're going to go ahead and get into our main topic for the night and talk about our Valentine's Day favorite movie and TV couples. We're kind of just going to have an open discussion. Like I said up top on the show, if you guys have any names that you want mentioned to be talked about, if you have a question about them, let us know. But we're kind of just going to hang out, maybe mention one by one, go through our lists, because we've all kind of made lists and have them in our head on the couples that we want to highlight. Well, maybe there's one that pops in your head. You probably have it in your head. So
we'll see.
I'm sure. I'm sure a couple will come from you. So note, not go to Jill first. Do not go to Jill first. So Molly, I'll actually let you start us off here. If there's a couple that you would like to bring up for us to discuss or talk about, who's one of your favorite couples?
So I have a bunch of TV couples, couple of movie couples, but the first one and maybe the best one, in my opinion, for me. And maybe you might like this too, Jake. Corey and Topanga.
Oh, they're on my list.
Oh,
Ah,
there you go. Yep.
Yes.
the
Dang it.
ultimate kid couple.
100%.
I mean, iconic.
I mean,
get
it was
much better than
childhood. Like, I'd have to go back and look at the exact age of everything, but they were like lining up with me as a kid as far as age. And I mean, the amount of times that I've watched Boy Meets World as a kid, but also as an adult, is pretty absurd.
I didn't watch it until I was an adult, and I
Oh.
still feel the same way as people
Yeah.
who watched it growing up. I'm like, that show is timeless.
Yeah, it 100% is. Topanga is 100% my first ever crush, no doubt. Just seeing how her and Corey kind of like went through like true life struggles together. You know, we were talking about how there's not really, it doesn't really feel like a lot of shows today present couples in the fashion that a lot of older shows or movies do. Like, they're not as important, and Corey and Topanga is a prime example. I cannot think of a current show on TV or the last couple of years that has come to anything close of what Corey and Topanga was like on screen for 7 seasons. Like,
well, that's part of it too. Is like, not only did we get to see them grow up together, we got 7 seasons of that show. So they were just, that's honestly a lot of my picks are because we got so many episodes to kind of grow with these couples and learn more about them and love them, and that definitely helps.
Yeah. Now I just want to go watch more Boy Meets World. No, they do a rewatch podcast. I don't know if you've seen it, but it's popped up on my TikTok, which is kind of cool.
I followed them on Instagram when they first started it, but I've actually never listened to the podcast, and I need to fix that.
I've seen a few clips here and there. Topanga, Danielle Fisher had mentioned how she had a crush on Ryder Strong while they were filming, which I thought was really funny. So, if you have not seen Boy Meets World, highly recommend. Highly recommend.
That's the name of the podcast.
These whole rewatch podcasts, by the way, just side note, such clever names that they come up with.
Yeah.
Like, such clever names that they come up with. I'm going to stick with the TV stuff, and I only had 2 TV down. So, and that one, Corey and Topanga was one of them. And I'm going to go to another one that also has a rewatch podcast, but I'm going to do Clark and Lois from Smallville. Another show that was near and dear to me for a very long time. It had 10 seasons over 10 years. I was like 8 years old when the first season aired. And Clark is a freshman in high school, so it's close. And but Lois didn't show up until season 4, and they didn't get together until about season 6 or 7, maybe. But we got to see their relationship kind of fleshed out through a number of seasons. And, the Clark and Lois relationship is so important to obviously pop culture and the Superman storyline. But it's like one of the top relationships that you think of when you think of like movie stuff. Clark and Lois, you have Peter and Mary Jane. You have all these kind of iconic couples that you can mention. But to me, and this might just be because it was on TV, this one was by far the best. I think that they just had such great chemistry together. They just went through so much stuff together, and we saw them as friends for a very long period of time before we saw them actually get together, which always works out better. It always works out better in every capacity. So, Smallville, Clark and Lois, as my laundry goes off. So,
I would
laundry
as a honorable mention. I think the Clark and Lois from the original Superman movie is like
very good.
It's a pretty short movie, but I mean, really it's Margot Kidder and Christopher Reeve. Like, their natural chemistry on screen is so good.
For sure. All right, Jill, do you have a couple that
I do? I have. I'll continue with the TV one, and I have, I guess, more of a recent one. Maybe spoilers. This was one of Sean and I's quarantine binges, but The Good Place.
I still have not seen that.
Well,
it's really good.
Then should I
I've
not
heard it's really good.
Who mine is?
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay.
I don't know if I'll ever be able to get to it.
If people have seen it, they'll know who you're talking about.
But that couple, I love because they no matter how many times they have to repeat everything, they always find each other
Yeah,
at the end of it. It's freaking precious.
very sweet.
They're very cute.
Now I'm
I
intrigued
have
in
them
what you're
up there
talking
for
about.
mine. Oh, it's so good. I introduced it to my mom and she loved it. It's great. She loves Ted Danson.
How can you not?
How can you not love Ted Danson?
Did she watch Cheers?
Yeah.
Then it was ingrained in her then.
Yep. She's like, oh my god, Ted Danson. Yes, I'll watch this show. Just for Ted Danson. I'm trying to think of other ones that I have at the top of my head.
No, it's okay. Go ahead.
I have a really dumb one. Which was my Roman Empire when I was
God.
a child. But
God.
Kim Possible and Ron Stoppable.
Oh no, I love that.
Thank you.
I love that.
Them finally getting together at
Yes.
the end of the show was like
Iconic.
the highlight of my life.
100%. 100%. Finally.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank
Agreed.
You. Literally.
100%
Literally, finally.
Yeah.
Okay, see, you agree.
That was like, that took forever.
It took
Like,
literally
took
the entire
forever.
show. They added another season so you could actually see them in a relationship. They're so cute. Love them.
Molly, have you ever seen Kim Possible?
No.
Molly, oh my god.
I've had
I think-
people tell me that I should cosplay as her though.
Yeah, you
would
should.
make a great
You should.
Kim.
On the same page of like animated shows though, Harley Quinn
Hmm.
and
And
Ivy,
Ivy. Yes.
classic.
Yes, always. I need to catch up on that show.
I do too.
I haven't watched that show.
Oh, it's so good.
Maybe
It's
I'll
hilarious.
check it out. Yeah,
It's
I've
kind
heard
of
it's great.
I mean, it's like really dirty, but it's hilarious.
In the best.
I've heard it's great for a long time. I just never got around to watching it.
It's so good.
Molly, you got another one?
Yeah, I've got a couple. Let's see. I'll go to a movie one next. Most people will assume I'm going to say Han and Leia. They're up there, yes, but I'm not going to talk Star Wars. I'm going to say Elizabeth and Will from Pirates of the Caribbean.
That's a great.
Oh,
choice.
that's a
That's
great
a great,
one.
great pick.
one
great
of the many couples in movie history who have sparked many bisexual
I was literally about to say
Human
that
beings.
was my bisexual awakening was freaking
across the
Will
world.
and Jack Sparrow and Elizabeth Swann.
So many
She-
sexual awakenings happening because of them.
She was
Yep.
another one of my crushes. I love her.
Yeah.
Love not the
Love.
character, but I love the Keira Knightley. I love Keira Knightley a lot too.
I
so.
saw that movie 7 times in the theaters,
Oh,
which
girl.
Dang.
like I've never
That
seen
was-
a movie that many times in
That
the
was my
theater when it was out.
obsession. That was my obsession when
Same.
that came out. I was obsessed with Pirates
Posters on the wall,
Girl, same. Oh my god.
all of it.
Ugh. Everything.
Yeah, it's a good choice. That's a really good choice. That,
It's
I mean,
good.
because their relationship is definitely one of the ones that's been tested so much.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yep.
And it's all through their performances, because you think of like, oh, Pirates of the Caribbean romance, but no, like a Pirates of the Caribbean romance, like it
Yeah.
it
They-
works.
On a pirate ship, like during a fight scene.
Yeah,
It's swashbuckling for sure.
I love that. I love that. Yeah, one of the probably the most chaotic marriage or wedding of all time, right? Like
Barbosa, marry us.
literally falling into
Now?
the middle of the sea, like just and getting hitched. I love it.
I'm busy at the moment.
I love it. I'm gonna go to a fun one. You know what's funny is I was doing this list, and I came to realize that a lot of my favorite couples aren't from romance or romantic comedies. They're not.
That's fair.
They're from
That's
a lot of other genres out there, and this is one of them. I'm gonna go with John and Jane from Mr. and Mrs. Smith, Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie.
controversial
I know it is.
because
I
it
know
ruined
it is.
marriages. How dare you?
I know it is, but when I'm talking about the movie itself, I love the way the dynamic between those two. You know, whatever may have happened afterwards during filming, the dynamic that they had on screen as those characters and the way the story plays out is so brilliant. I love that movie so much. It's also relevant right now just because the show just currently came out on Prime Video. But I love that movie so much, and it's a large part is because of their performances, and they were both in the heyday, obviously, of they were like two of the biggest, if not the biggest stars on the planet at the time, coming together to do this movie. And at points they hate each other, at points they love each other, and it's just a really fun time. And so I got to include John and Jane on there.
They have a very chaotic chemistry on screen, but
Mhm.
it's like you can't look away.
Yeah.
It's so good. I haven't
Yeah.
rewatched that movie in a long time.
I just rewatched it because of the show. I wanted to kind of refresh myself because I've heard the show is vastly different on how they get together.
Mm.
So I just wanted to do a quick rewatch and before I watch the show. But yeah, John. Yeah, so.
Reefism, real quick, has a great one. Antonio Banderas and Catherine Zeta-Jones and Zorro.
That is great.
Those
That is a
movies
really
are
good pick.
so good and so underrated.
The first one is pretty brilliant. It's pretty brilliant. I like the second one a lot too, but the first one is like, it's so good.
I have a controversial one since Jake said a controversial one. More controversial because they are related, but Daemon and Rhaenyra Targaryen from House of the
characters
Dragon.
themselves. Yeah.
The characters themselves. Which when they were all staring at each other sensually on the dance floor when she was like barely 18, I was like, this is weird. I don't like this. I don't like that the Targaryens always bang like their brothers and sisters and their uncles. Like, it's weird.
Hey, we can include the other Targaryens too, of Jon and Daenerys.
And Jon and Daenerys, yeah. But then like, I definitely ship these two. I think they're freaking cute. Like, yes, it's weird, but that's what the Targaryens do, and I love them because Daemon would do anything for his queen. Damn it. Good for him.
D-Train follows it up, Jaime and Cersei.
No, terrible. Hate it. Because I was gonna say Jaime and what's her
Brienne
name?
of Tarth?
Yeah, Brienne.
But they never got together. Like,
but they loved each other.
His crush on her was so cute.
Ruined.
And her crush on him was so cute.
And they ruined it so he could get back with his god-awful twin sister. Gross.
Well, thank you for bringing siblings banging each other into the program, Joe.
You're welcome. Thanks, House of the Dragon.
We did get a super chat, and Dean the Machine, I love you for mentioning this. Thank you so much. He mentions Joy and Kate from from Blade Runner 2049, which is Ana de Armas and Ryan Gosling's characters in Blade Runner 2049. Which is a very interesting pick just because she is a hologram. And and he is a cybernetic being, and they kind of just have this love for each other, and it's a fantastic relationship. It really is a really good relationship. So thank you for mentioning that, Dean. Appreciate it.
Interesting.
I'm trying to think of another. The only other controversial one that I had thought of, and it's kind of controversial, not really, but Indy and Marion, because of the age gap and the line that she has of like, I was a child and it was wrong and you knew it. But if we're going back to that time period of whatever, and like when the movie was made, their chemistry on screen is great.
Who's to say she wasn't 17 or 18? Huh?
Yeah.
Sure. But still, the age gap is makes things kind of awkward, but
if you say
we'll ignore it.
If this was like an official list, I would have mentioned them just like you would have mentioned Han and Leia probably.
Yeah.
If we just weren't having more of an open discussion, but yeah, I mean, when you push that to the side and you think of everything else that happened to Raiders, then you think of everything else that happened in the other two movies. It's a really good relationship. So I quickly wanted to bring up Maddie's comment. Because he said, Ragnar and Lagatha, Jake knows what I'm talking about. And he's talking about Vikings. I had to mention it. Thank you, Maddie. Appreciate it. Great relationship. And it 100% deserves to be mentioned. For sure.
Nice.
All hail Ragnar. Do we have any others? I have a couple.
I got a couple more that I'm thinking of. Glenn and Maggie from The Walking Dead is up there for me.
What a tragic ending, too.
I know.
It's got to be the most tragic. It's got to be the most tragic ending to a relationship ever, right? It's got to be. It's
up there. It's definitely up there. And what's worse is I knew it was going to happen because it was in the comics, and it was still the worst thing I ever saw in my entire life.
I think everybody at that point knew that was happening. Like everybody.
Yeah.
Well, no, because they kind of did a bait and switch because he went after somebody else first. Negan was like, I'm going to go after you. And then Negan was like, no, I'm not done. And as soon as he said, no, I'm not done, I went, dang it.
Yeah. I think if I remember correctly, they killed someone, and then they ended the episode with him killing someone else, but it was a POV, like a video game shot.
So the season ends with the POV of the
Yes.
first person,
Or it was like a
getting killed.
mid-season finale or something.
Something like that. Yeah.
And they had like a 2-month break, and they kept everybody like on their toes.
Yeah. So they kept everyone on their toes, and then they come back from the break, and this one person dies, and everyone's kind of relieved because they're like, "Oh, good, it's not Glenn."
Yeah.
And then, just kidding. So
yeah.
Yeah.
People are mentioning Rick and Michonne as well. Just keeping up with The Walking
Rick and
Dead.
Michonne. They're very cute.
You can go Daryl and Carol if you really.
They are
want
not
to.
a couple.
Well, I mean, they're as close as you can be.
They are not a couple. I will fight people who say they are. They are not. But I'm glad someone put this in here. Super chat from Dean the Machine. Bill and Frank from The Last of Us.
Oh yeah,
that's a good one.
They made us love them so quickly.
Yeah.
In one episode,
I know.
We saw the beginning, the middle, and the end of a beautiful friendship and relationship, and it was so moving.
What do you guys think about everyone online freaking out that they're not in some way bringing Bill and Frank back? Have you guys seen that?
How would they bring them back?
That's what.
Oh, well,
because Nick Offerman was like asked or something was said, and apparently people online are saying that they want them to bring them back in
people
some
are
capacity.
selfish. Like,
yeah.
that episode was a gift. Just leave it.
I know.
Just I'm like, why would you touch like it's like how they did a Toy Story 4 after Toy Story 3. It's like, why would you end something that had such a perfect ending? Like, why would you continue it? No, their ending was perfect. It was beautiful. Leave them alone.
Dude, it's so crazy that you brought up Toy Story. So we were in the doctor's office earlier, and the pediatric rooms are always themed, and this was in Bo's room today was themed Toy Story. And I had the thought in my head that the first Toy Story came out when I was like 1 year old, 2 years old.
95.
So 3 years old. There's gonna be a Toy Story 5 when Bo is 1, 2, 3.
Aww.
The franchise is still freaking going that long.
That's wild.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
It's timeless.
It's wild.
But I agree, it should have ended after 3. But even though I love 4, it should have ended after 3.
4 is fine, but it anyway, that's a whole other show topic.
You're fine, Jill. You're fine.
That's a whole other
all right, some more super chats or messages here we have. This one's from Andy, one of our members. Thank you, Andy. My faves, Albert and Armand.
Yes.
Yes.
I've never seen the Birdcage.
Weren't you there with us when we watched it with the watch along?
Nope.
Oh.
Yeah,
It's
haven't
so
seen
fun.
Birdcage.
It's a great movie.
Lloyd and Your Forager, Spy Times Family. I believe that's how you pronounce it. Could be wrong. Uncle Phil and Aunt Viv. Fresh Prince. That's so good. That's a great one. And then Leslie and Ben from Parks and Rec, which I'm sure.
Yeah, that was on my list too, for sure. Love them.
And then we have another one here from Calm Like a Bomb. Thank you, Calm. Kanan and Hera. Absolutely.
Chef's kiss.
Absolutely. Another heartbreaking ending to that one. Spoiler alert. Sorry.
Spoiler alert.
All right. I have another one here I want to mention. I'm just going to go super pop culture. Actually, you know what? I'm not. I'm going to go to a movie that I love that plays into actors kind of recreating romances in different movies. And I'm going with Sebastian and Mia from La La Land, which is Ryan Gosling and Emma Stone. And obviously they did, I'm forgetting the name of the other movie they did with Steve Carell and Julianne Moore. And then they also did, oh my God, they did 3 movies where they had a romance together. I'm blanking on the other 2.
Jeez.
Hold on.
So
forgetting both of them. I'm sure the chat will blow me up, but that's okay.
They'll find it for you.
Yeah, I love La La Land like a lot.
Love?
Crazy with Love. Yes. Crazy Stupid Love. Crazy Stupid Love. And then they did another one as well that I cannot remember.
Gangster Squad.
I don't think it was Gangster Squad, but
no.
They were in Gangster Squad together. You're right. I forgot that they were in there together. Anyway, I love not just this movie, but I think the romance it's one of the more like real looks at romance on screen that we've seen. And, you know, they have professions, obviously, like she is a dancer and an actress where he's a musician trying to make it in Los Angeles. That's obviously different, but they don't end up together in the end. and they decide to go their separate ways, kind of mutually in a way, and they respect each other for it. And that last scene of like that last glance at each other, where he has his club finally, and she has her life with a family. It's a really, really good look at what romance is like, even at the most tragic parts of it. So, yeah, I'll go with Sebastian and Mia for Bolo Man.
That's a good one. Nice little fling.
I have a random movie one. I'm gonna do Jenna and Matt from 13 Going on 30. It's so cute.
I love that.
Thank you. Because he loved her like his entire life, and then it's cute, so cute.
These are the most Jill answers.
I'm trying not to say any Disney films. So
why not? Why not?
No, because that's just too on brand.
You could say one. Say one. How about you?
Then it would be Rapunzel and Flynn Rider, obviously.
There you go.
Obviously.
I love that.
I've got another TV one. Adama and Laura Roslin from Battlestar. Good one. That's one that we kind of get to see develop over time.
Over time, for sure.
And because they kind of butt heads at first, and then they're kind of stuck working together, and then they are friends, and then they're more than friends. And it's one of those that kind of creeps up on people, but once it happens, you're like, oh, thank God.
Yeah. It's like a very subtle love too, where you kind of like, you're in this desperate situation where there's not, and you mentioned they kind of butt heads, where there's not very many options available, but you come to appreciate someone over time through the things that you go through, and they clearly go through a lot. So I forgot about that. Yeah, that's a good one.
It's so sweet. And like a lot of the their theme song together, I forget what did they call it, but it's so good.
And that ending with the two of them.
I don't want to talk about the ending.
It's so brutal. Another tragic ending.
Yeah. But their love story will live on forever.
I'm gonna say Pam and Jim from The Office.
Classic. I had them written down too.
It's hard to not include them.
It's like especially in the early seasons, like everyone in the world who was watching that show was rooting for them. But then like in the later seasons, I was kind of like, whatever.
Got bored.
I don't care about them anymore.
Yeah, they got a little boring.
Yeah.
A couple here in the chat that I'll just highlight. Let's see. Robbie and Julia from The Wedding Singer.
Okay. It's cute.
Jim and Michelle from American Pie. They went through a lot of up and down, that's for sure. Vivian and Edward from Pretty Woman.
Okay.
Rocky and Adrian, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. and Mrs. Incredible. There's a Disney throw out.
Yes, they're great.
Al and Peg Bundy. There's one.
Oh.
George and Lisa from Seinfeld as well.
I have Steve Rogers and Peggy Carter.
That's on my list as well. That is the definition of a timeless romance.
Yeah. Yep.
There's not very many men who would give up the life that Steve Rogers has in current day to go back to 1940 whatever.
He needed that dance, woman. Jake. He needed
that woman. Dance. Hey, if that woman was...
He needed a lot more than a dance, but...
Well, yes, but...
If that woman was Haley Atwell, I'd go back in time too. So
I think all of us would, to be fair.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's, hey, good for him. Good for him.
I've got another one from TV. Captain Holt and Kevin from Brooklyn Nine-Nine, if you watch that show.
Oh.
I have not seen it.
They were so cute. I got to meet the actor who plays Kevin, and I cannot remember his name for the life of me right now, but he's super nice.
Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Let's see.
It's like Jackson something Jackson.
Plays Kevin. Where is Kevin at? Oh my God, where is Kevin at? How far down is Kevin?
He's not in it much.
Why don't you just?
Oh, then he's gonna be way down on
Mark
this
Evan
list.
Jackson. That's his name.
Okay, thank you, Chad.
He was also in The Good Place.
Oh, I love The Good
Another super chat here from Dean the Machine. Thank you. Liz Lemon and Wesley Snipes from 30 Rock.
Did you
That's
guys watch
good.
30 Rock?
I
I
watched
haven't
some of
seen the
30
whole
Rock.
thing. I watched some.
It's
Yeah.
funny, but it does not age well.
Oh,
Really?
yeah.
It's that bad?
It's just the comedy of it is very of its time, and some of it might age well, but most of it I think doesn't really.
Big G here mentions Zach and Kelly from Saved by the Bell, another childhood one.
Yeah.
My cousin produced that show. Fun fact.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
That's cool.
Nice.
I like this one. Star Wars Uplink, Mando and Cobb Vanth.
Of
Yep.
course.
Yep. It's my OTP right there. Mando and Cobb Vanth.
They will be together one day.
I have just two more that I have on my list here that I have not mentioned yet. I obviously have Harry and Sally from When Harry Met Sally. Very cool.
Oh, I have one.
Way that was kind of told, which fun fact for everybody here who is watching, because you're special. We're going to be doing a POV watches on When Harry Met Sally because someone on the four of us has not seen it. So we'll be doing that for February.
Hi.
And then I'll just quickly mention Pat and Tiffany from Silver Linings Playbook, which was Bradley Cooper
Ooh,
and Jennifer Lawrence.
that's a good one.
I love that movie. I think obviously they're the reason why. So
Mhm.
I had another one. Now I forget.
The last one on my list was Willow and Tara and Buffy. They were one of the first lesbian couples to be portrayed on television. So yay for them.
Woo.
And I will not talk about how their relationship ended because it is too sad. But if you know, you know.
clearly not good.
Still mad
Jill,
about
did you
it.
remember yours?
I forgot. I was very excited about it, and then I was looking at the chat and went, "Ooh, I like that one too. Ooh, I like that one too." And then I forgot about what mine was.
Yeah, another one here. Shrek and Fiona from Leo. Thank you, Leo. Andy says Rachel and Nick from Crazy Rich Asians.
That was
I
up
love
there
this
for me
pick.
too.
That's a really good pick. I like that one. Maddie Gunner has Ewan McGregor.
Oh, there's
and
another
Nicole
heartbreaking
Kidman
one.
in Moulin Rouge.
I was
There's another
obsessed with that movie for
There's another heartbreaker.
a good solid amount of time. But for a while, like I just wouldn't watch the end of the movie. I would just stop it and walk away.
You're like, no.
I don't need the rest of this.
I don't know if I've ever seen Moulin Rouge, if I'm being honest.
Wow.
It is weird but fun.
Mm-hmm.
It's a musical, right?
Correct.
Yes.
Okay.
So good.
I'm just looking through the list to see if we missed any major ones.
would be a
Forrest and Jenny from Forrest Gump.
Oh, I don't like them.
Jenny.
Really interesting.
I think Jenny's kind of trash.
Oh, hot take.
Sorry.
Sandy
I don't
and
think that's
Danny
a very
from
hot
Grease?
take, actually.
That's fair. That's fair. Sandy and Danny from Grease. Really?
I don't like either of them as
Damn.
people. I love Grease. I was just telling Alex about this. I love Grease. I don't love them as a couple.
No.
Okay. Okay, this one will win everybody over. Ellie and Carl from Up.
Oh, that one's
No.
too sad. I don't want to
So many
think about
sad,
it.
heartbreaking ends of relationships.
Life isn't fair, okay, guys?
Uh,
And now I'm trying to think of the one I forgot.
Oh, here's one that hasn't been mentioned, which thank God, and maybe I should just not mention it, but Edward and Bella.
yeah, I left them out
Mhm.
because I was like, I don't want to open that can of worms.
I remember now because books. And I liked this couple better in the book than in the movie, but Hermione Granger and Ron.
I knew you were going to say that.
Is
I
up
knew
there
you
for
were
me.
going to say that.
Yeah. That's book when I was reading those books, that was also like my Roman Empire because I was waiting for it for so long and then it finally happened.
So
better in the
it's better in the books?
Well, because any of the relationships in the books are so much more fleshed out. So like Harry and Ginny, Tonks and Lupin, Ron and Hermione, all their relationships are so much more fleshed out. So you see like the little like seeds that are planted like throughout the series, and it's just so much better in the books. Like they plant little seeds in the movies for Ron and Hermione. They don't do anything with Harry and Ginny. They just kind of throw that at you in the movies. But the books are just so much better.
Interesting.
Mhm.
Very interesting. I never read the book, so I'm not sure.
The books are so much better than the movies.
All right. Well, any final ones before we start to wrap up, ladies? Anything that comes to mind? I'm looking through the chat. Nothing that's too crazy. There's a couple in here that I could mention. D and the Machine throws in 2 more super chats actually. So let me get to these real quick. Jadzia, Dax, and Worf from DS9.
Deep Space Nine. Star
Deep
Trek.
Space Nine. Okay. Thank you. I don't know what that is, but I am sure it's very popular.
It's a good one.
And then Dean the Machine also shows out Adrian in a car in the movie Titan. I don't know
Wait,
what that
what
is.
is tattoo? Did I
Why
say
a
that?
car? I need to know the story of why.
Yeah,
she
me
was in love
too.
with a car.
Why a car? Why?
Oh, I was told that I would like this movie, and I haven't seen it yet. So I don't know.
I'm very intrigued.
It's a
I need to know.
horror psychological drama.
Oh, okay, no, I'm good.
Oh, I'm sold. I'm in. I want to know why she's in love with this car. Or is the car in love with her? Who knows?
Ooh,
real
and
mystery.
Andy has a great one to kind of finish out the show here. Stanley Tucci and Patricia Clarkson as the parents in Easy A.
They make
That's
that
good.
movie
100%.
like
That's
so much
good.
better.
That's a
They
very,
should be
very
everyone's
good pick.
parents in every movie.
Yeah. I would love for Stanley Tucci to be a dad in every movie. He's great.
Do you see like when he does TikToks where he'll like make a drink or make pizza or pasta or something?
Yeah, his
we'll
dinner
go
drink.
Nuts over it.
I just want to get your guys' quick thoughts on this one because I saw this on every list that I researched earlier for the show, but everyone was mentioning Katniss and Peeta.
I almost said Katniss and Peeta. It was up there for me.
Okay.
Because Peeta is a precious baby boy, and I love him. But
better in the books or the movies?
Ooh. I don't like book Katniss at all.
Okay.
I think book Katniss is awful.
She's not very likable in the books, honestly.
She is not likable in the books. No. So I'm going to this is like the one instance where I'm going to say I think the movies are better than the books. Yeah. I did not like if she died in the Hunger Games, I would not have cared. Like I did not like book Katniss.
All right.
I liked her for Peeta's sake. I was like, you stay alive for Peeta, damn it. But,
All right. Well, any final ones that we need to mention, or are we good?
Did you put Jack and what's her face from Titanic
and Rose on the
thumbnail?
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Rose, yeah.
I guess that movie's so long. I guess you kind of fall in love with them after a while.
I will say that is the only one that makes me cry. I cannot watch that last scene on the boat where they like are reunited without crying. Doesn't matter if I start the movie from the beginning or 5 minutes before that scene. It does not matter. I am crying.
I think it's because it's the whole he's such a poor man compared to she's such a rich woman, right? Like, and then it's that relationship of they're locked on a boat, and it's just like again, it's kind of like this romance where this timeless romance is just like one chance, 0.001% chance of it actually happening, and it happens. And then there's like very iconic scenes between them in the movies where she's coming down the staircase and he's looking at her, or they're in the car with the foggy windows, or he's painting her. Like there's just a lot of things that happen between the two of them that make it like, oh yeah, like that's one of the good romances.
I agree with Curtis though. There was enough room on that.
100% there was enough room on that.
She could have
that door was huge.
They could take turns. Come on.
Take turns. He could have laid on top of her. Like there was room on that door.
100%.
And apparently they've done like scientific studies to be like, no, there wasn't. I don't believe you. There was room on that door.
Yeah.
Leo wasn't that. He was a small child back then. He could have.
Yeah, they would have figured it out. They would have been fine. They didn't try hard enough.
All right. Well, I think that's a great way to end, a great spot to finish out the show for this week and next week. But before we start doing our plugs, I did just want to mention real quick that we have a fun little thing happening this Friday.
Damn right we do.
Our February edition of Happy Hour, which has always been the newlywed game since the show has been started, is not the newlywed game anymore, but the not so newlywed game. And it will be the Damons and the Sullivans taking on some of their best friends in a grudge match for, I believe you both won once, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. And then it's all up to Zach and his wife on whether or not they come out victorious to
Yeah.
keep the wins.
Brandon,
and single
Zach,
there,
who
so
you might know Zach from Blunderdome if you watched them when they were doing that.
He's
Haven't
basically
done it.
Sean. He's basically Atlanta
Yeah.
Sean. Is basically Zach. Yeah.
no, it's gonna be fun.
Exactly.
It's gonna happen this Friday, 6:00 Pacific, I believe, is the time that we're setting.
Correct.
Signature drink to follow soon in the next couple of days, and Brian will be hosting. He's writing the questions for this. TBD on whether or not I'm there, just because I have a 4-month-old at home. So
He can watch.
we'll see. We'll see. But yeah, let's go ahead and do some quick plugs and talk about the Patreon real quick, and then we'll head out of here. Molly, where can everyone find you online?
You can find me at Molly Damon on Twitter, Molly Mander on Instagram, and Talking Star Wars over on Star Wars Explained. We're gonna be
In a great new setup.
Yeah, we're still playing around with the new setup for the Q&As, but we have a new background, new setup for the Saturday Q&A videos, and we're gonna be covering all things Bad Batch here pretty soon.
Oh my
And
god, that happens
800,000
so
followers.
soon.
Pew, 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 pew.
Yeah, congratulations, 800K.
Yeah, we hit 800K on YouTube, which was pretty exciting.
Pew, 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 pew.
A milli within the year.
Let's go. Grab 200,000 of your closest friends and have them subscribe to Star Wars Explained.
Yeah.
Couple of years, maybe. Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll get there.
Yeah. I can't believe the Bad Batch is like almost here.
I know.
Crazy. Jill, what about you? Where can everyone find you?
Jilly Marie, 2 Y's, 2 E's on Twitter and Instagram. You can also find me over on Rookies and Rulebooks. We did just film session 7 this weekend, so as soon as Sean gets that edited, that will hopefully be up this week. So yeah.
POV wise, we are at Certain POV Crew all over social media. So we have X, Instagram, TikTok. We're uploading a lot of clips from the shows now, which has been a lot of fun to do. We're getting a lot of good feedback from those. Patreon wise, we have a couple things coming out this month. We are doing a watch along towards the end of the month, which the movies will be picked here in just a few weeks. Our Q&A thread is up on Patreon for those who can ask questions. If you want to ask questions, because the Q&As go public at the end of each month, $5 and up in the tier, you can ask any questions you want. The theme this month is underrated and overrated, and it can be anything, underrated or overrated. So very curious on the questions that you guys asked for that. And then we are bringing back bar trivia for the first time in 2024, and it is on the Planet of the Apes trilogy, the recent one, which has been dubbed Caesar's trilogy. So that'll be Rise, Dawn, and War for Planet of the Apes. That's what we'll be testing our patrons on. Myself at Qui-Gon Jake, all over social media, 2 N's, because someone else took it before I did. And then we will be back live for this show in 2 weeks. But again, happy hour will be this Friday, and we'll be sprinkling in some other videos between then. So again, to everyone who's been watching, thank you guys so much. Thank you for the super chats. Hope you guys have a great rest of your week, and we'll catch you guys next time. Bye, guys.